Hello, everyone, and welcome to New Canadians. Welcome to this Cafe New Canadians, our virtual series that brings to you issues of employment and other issues that are very much importance to all newcomers in Canada. I can see we have people joining us from Ottawa, some from Brampton, Whitby, and all these places. You are welcome. Today, we are going to be talking about volunteering while keeping your social space. We all know how the situation is and how everybody's keeping home to stay safe. Just keep there, but just know that some of these things cannot stop. Life has to go on. And this virtual chat, Cafe New Canadians, is brought to you by New Canadians TV, a web and TV series that tackles issues of employment, brings you information on settlements, success stories of newcomers in Canada, and so on. My name is Gertrude Tumusime. You can call me Trudy. And today I'm going to be hosting Sukhjit Singh. Singh is an award-winning strategist, career strategist, and a volunteer ambassador. He is in a bit going to tell us a little bit more about why he exactly chose to push for volunteering and why exactly it is important. Singh, can you please talk to us?
Oh, sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for the warm introduction, Trudy. And I'm very excited and looking forward to talk more about volunteerism and more importantly, how you can do it in this situation. And we all know that most of us are, I will say, stuck at home because I did not grow up in such scenario where you stay home and do everything by just being home. My name is Sukhjit. I'm a career strategist and I'm very proud immigrant, now a settled immigrant. And I'm here in Canada from last 10 years. And I live and work I live in Mississauga, I work in Brampton, and I'm very proud that I work for a wonderful organization, the Center for Education and Training. And yeah, and I'm very excited, looking forward. You might have seen my picture. I look the same, and you will notice I have put a poster next to my picture, and that is my V power. I call it a volunteer power. It came to existence few years ago when people were questioning me, what is a volunteer? I mean, what does it mean actually? Who is a volunteer? We all know that it is a selfless service. You don't expect anything to come back to you in return. And But for me, it was a little difficult because it's not only that I did not expect anything to come back to me in return when I was new to Canada. I started volunteering for a different reason, and I will share that in the following slides. But this V power came when I was sitting at my desk, my wife and my daughter, and at that point, both were also involved with me as a volunteer. And I was thinking, like, what does it mean to be a volunteer? And then I came up, and I won't take the whole credit because there is a contribution from my wife and from my daughter in this. And we were thinking hard to define every single alphabet. So V stands for vital, and in today's scenario, it is vital for all of us to give back in some ways. And then second, go for O, which is opportunity. For me, the big piece came as learning and also understanding. And in the life of any newcomer, we all know people talk about networking, but for me, networking was something which it did not gel in well with me initially. That why I need to network. What does it mean to network, right? And then with the time when I was, as I told you, I developed this few years ago, which means after I came, settled down, got a job, life was smooth. And it can be actually specific. That's why I mentioned targeting and empowering. Volunteering is empowering from many aspects of life. It can empower you in your life, in your personal and both professional, and definitely entertaining. And I can tell you that it is entertaining because it your mental well-being is been automatically taken care of, and rewarding. You might have seen a picture, and I'm wearing a proud medal. This is the Canadian highest honor given to volunteer. I joined many other volunteers all over Canada when I was facilitated by the mayor of Mississauga. So it is rewarding, and the reward comes to me as a satisfaction. And then I always say the real me and the role me, they both combined when I decided to be a volunteer. So this poster, this definition of V Power, I call it V Power, is dedicated to Canada's 150th birthday, which was in year 2017. And that's why it's easy for me to define what volunteer is.
Oh,
And yeah, thank you,
oh,
Trudy.
okay. Before Singh goes ahead to explain to us everything about volunteering, and especially during this time, I would like to remind you that you can type your questions in. If you're watching us from Zoom, or if you're attending on Zoom, you can type in the box down there. And then if you're watching us live on YouTube, in the comment box, remember to send in your questions, because Sukhjit is going to be telling us and answering all those questions. But for now, can we just take a simple poll and see who is volunteering right now, or who for the people who are joining us from wherever you're joining. Let's take this simple poll and see how long you've been in Canada. We'll give you 15 minutes to answer that poll, and then we'll later have the results. In the meantime, Singh,
Yes.
tell us about the joy of volunteering. I heard you say it is very entertaining and very, empowering.
I will definitely share this as soon as I go to the next slide, because I just want to share a little bit of background so that we put things in perspective. And all those listeners, viewers who are with us now, joining us all from all over Canada, and I could see some of them are joining from outside Canada. And thank you again, once again, for joining all of us at a New Canadian Cafe. Um, I want to give you a little bit of perspective. 10 years ago, when I moved to Canada, it was a kind of rough ride for me. And and I like any other immigrant, we have those basic necessities, like, you are looking for home, you're looking for many other things, and the most important thing is a job. And I was quite surprised not to get a job, and I could not figure out why I was not getting a job. But soon realizing that my ways of hunting job was not correct. I was doing in a style which was never been used, because before moving to Canada, I never had actually, you know, had to look for a job. So that is the context. And I was a bit innovative in my job search. In that innovation, I put my profile in a magazine and I shared my Canadian dream. And I had no job then. I was not earning any money, but I was thinking that how how I will be known for in Canada. What is my Canadian dream? And I shared that Canadian dream. And I'm very fortunate that someone put that in my head, that volunteering is the best option for you to learn something new. Initially, I was a bit hesitant, but then there was no other option. I jumped in and started volunteering at a local volunteer center at YMCA in Mississauga. And my life turned in completely different direction in a positive way. People kept telling me initially that, and we all know, as an immigrant, we all know, as a newcomer to Canada, you can be on work permit, you can be on a student visa, you can be somebody who even moved from a different province. But sometimes volunteering doesn't go well with many of us, means why I need to work for free. So for me, when I shared this dream, I also realized one thing: there is no better way for me to actually hit the restart button and start my life in a Canadian way. And when I chose to be a volunteer, that was the one thing which I always feel that I take pride in, that I decided to be a volunteer, and my life changed from that point onward. And I decided, if ever I I, I I decided to be a volunteer for the rest of my life. And I just want to throw a number at this moment. If I count, I have volunteered with more than 15 different organizations, and some of them are federal, some of them are provincial level, and some of them are boards and committees. And at this moment, I am actively involved with Volunteer MBC. I'm a very proud ambassador of Volunteer MBC. My job, my role there as a volunteer is to promote volunteerism in Peel region, but I take pride. It doesn't only limit me for Peel, which means it is an area where there are two cities and one town: Mississauga, Brampton, and Town of Caledon. Volunteer work helped me to achieve my Canadian dream. Because of this, I was able to discover what actually I wanted to do. And I have to tell you this. By profession, I'm a computer engineer. I have a computer engineering degree, an MBA, specialized in IT. My whole career before moving to Canada was in computer field. And the restart button, and with help of volunteerism, I was able to achieve my Canadian dream. So this I proudly share with everyone, and at every moment I get an opportunity to share that we all come with dreams, and most of the time we achieve our dreams. In my story, in my case, these dreams I was able to achieve because of my volunteer involvement. Yes, Judy.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'd like to remind everybody who is attending that you should write your questions in the Q&A tab on Zoom. And if you are on YouTube, in the comment section. Let's not get a little bit of mix up here, because we need Singh to answer all these questions.
I definitely would love
and,
to.
Well, I would like to also remind you that we have the results of our first poll, and later we'll be finding out who is volunteering right now and who is not, and who is going to be volunteering very soon, and why they want to volunteer. But first, let us have a feel of who is how long everybody has been in Canada. The results of our poll.
I'm also excited and looking forward to see how many of us who are here are new to Canada.
Okay. Well, just a moment. Anyway, Sukhjit, please tell us. You have talked about you volunteering and the importance of volunteering, but we know that right now everybody is in a situation where you have to stay home to keep safe, following the measures of the government and public health officials, so that everybody does not get caught up in this whole thing of spreading COVID-19. And we know that this has limited many of us getting out there and doing the activities that we really want to do. And for volunteering, it's almost practically impossible for everyone to be there in person. So at this time, I know that there are opportunities to still volunteer. And that's where I want you to try and explain.
Sure.
About virtual volunteering, where the opportunities.
Wonderful. And I also want to acknowledge all these questions are coming. We'll take all those questions. I won't leave without answering those questions. If we can go to the virtual volunteering versus volunteering slide, I want to show you through something when I'm talking. We all know, we all know in person what it is, right? And in person is you go to an office or a nonprofit organization or a food bank or a senior home where in person you go. But given that, as Trudy mentioned, the scenario, it is not safe. It is the best advice which we get from a health expert is to stay home. Now, not only virtual volunteering, everything is virtual now. I want to start with one example. Though it is not virtual volunteering, but at this moment, I have this best example, and you will see that in the graphics also. You see the karate, there is a graphics of this karate. I'm a sports, like I love sports, and I am a purple belt in karate, the Japanese style, the Shotokan. And 24 hours ago, I reached out to my sensei, my teacher, that I'm missing my classes. And he said, you are reaching out to me at the right moment. I will be conducting virtual classes for all of the students. And right now, he's in the Philippines because he could not travel. So he is going to start his virtual classes. And it is pro bono, it is volunteering, right? So that is best example, and this came in just 24 hours, and I was so happy
Mhm.
that now even I can learn, right? But virtual means you are not there in person, you are doing virtually. And let me share, we all know virtual means that, like, if I'm virtually working from home, I'm using my laptop, I'm using my phone, I'm using technology, I'm using social media to promote my programs. And now we have so many platforms. And you might have seen, all those who are attending right now, you might have seen, if you are on LinkedIn, there are a lot of webinars are being conducted, there are a lot of information sessions are conducted. And I was very happy to join a friend of mine, and she was running, she was asking everybody to join in live dancing on Instagram. So that, and actually she is a health expert, and she just wanted to bring everybody on board virtually. We were all online and dancing with her. But to give you concrete examples, just imagine there is a nonprofit organization who is now virtually reaching out to the community, connecting with the volunteers who are available and the opportunities. Say, for example, some small organization, they don't have the resources where they can actually go out and give food to those who need it, right? I'm just giving you two examples right now. I will start with the food bank. Now, the city I live in, there are few food banks who are asking for volunteers who can drop off food to those who are in need. And there are certain organizations who are also reaching out to volunteers who can drop off medicines to those who cannot go out. Majority of them are seniors, and deliver those medicines also. I have to remind you, it is again, even though it is virtual volunteering, you have to go through the process of being a volunteer and get yourself associated with those organizations who are looking for volunteer opportunities. I'm just giving you two examples, but I will take my own example. Now I have to stop meeting people in person who are reaching out to me for help, and majority of them are students, majority of them are immigrants. So what I have done is I have increased my capacity. When I finish my work at 4:30, after 4:30 till midnight, I'm available. When I say I'm available, means if there is a call I need to do, there is a Skype chat I need to do, I offer my services. But beyond that, if you're a great graphic designer, and again, an organization is looking for somebody who can design a good graphics for them, you can join them. If you have some kind of experience in video and photo editing, you can also offer your services to such organizations. Again, being in Mississauga, I can, and those who are from Peel region, I can tell you that Volunteer MBC is a great resource at this moment, and they have actually developed a new web page, which I will be sharing that in resources. You can go there and register yourself and offer your services, right? Beyond that, Volunteer Toronto is also very active. And above all, we are all in Canada. Volunteer Canada is your one-stop shop. Again, if you are reaching out from a different province, that Volunteer Canada website will take you to your province, and then they will connect. The website will be able to connect you with the local volunteer center. So, if I have to sum up what virtual volunteering opportunities are there, if you are good with numbers, you know, organization may reach out to you. If you are one of the lucky volunteer to help them with their finances, with their accounting, right? If you are a great grant writer, if you know how to write, how to assist somebody in grant writing, you can do that. And above all, again, it is not only limited to this. Another example I'm going to give you is, again, taking my, because I love what I do in my life as a person. I live in a neighborhood. We have 85 households, and we run a WhatsApp group, Google group. And we also know that in this thriving neighborhood in Mississauga, we have some couples, some seniors, and we have recruited a good number of volunteers to serve our own community. If my neighbor need my help is available. So that is also virtual volunteering. I am going to, if need be so, I'm going to buy some grocery. If need be so, I'm going to buy medicine and leave it at the front desk, front door. So all this are examples of volunteering, and now we are all involved in technology in one way or another, using the technology. And I want to give you another example. Recently, one of my mentee, she is a civil engineer. She is also newcomer to Canada, and for certain reasons, she lost her job, but she want to give back. And she was asking me, Sukhjit, what I can do. And she is now volunteer with Be My Eyes, and I'm so proud of her that though her struggle in Canada did not stop as newcomer, but she decided to give back. And kudos to all those newcomers and immigrants who are not only giving now, but they decided to give from the day one they came to Canada. So in terms of virtual volunteering, the opportunities are unlimited. You just need to reach out to me. You can reach out to me, by the way, and you just need to reach out to certain organizations. And as I mentioned before, we will be sharing those resources also. But I am
Okay.
offering Trudy one, because it is also a live chat. It's more of conversation. I just want to add, and I don't know whether you are okay with that. If somebody want to come on the camera and ask me question, I don't mind that as well, right? It's Saturday. It is less formal way. I have my glass of water. My daughter bring me this water that if my
Yeah.
right. So if there is any question, we'll go with those questions also, and then one by one I'll answer those questions. But the idea of virtual volunteering is not, you are not there in person. You are doing something in your own time using the technology. But again, delivering of food is again going to be in person. But for the safety reason, definitely any organization which will hire you as a volunteer will go, you will have to go through the screening process. You will have to have the mandatory training. It is the most important thing, which I believe as a newcomer, especially, you need to understand that it is a very formal process. Yeah,
Okay.
today.
Yeah. Thank you, Sukhjit, for that. I would like to share with us the results of our poll. 29% said they've been in Canada for less than 6 months,
Mhm,
and 6% say they've been in Canada between 6 to 12 months,
mhm,
and 59% have been in Canada for over 1 year,
mhm.
and 6% of the people who have joined us today are not in Canada.
Oh,
And
wow.
I would like us to take a few questions. We have a few people asking some questions right now. So, Sweeter Sadhatan, forgive
Mhm.
me if I murdered your name. What is strategic volunteering?
Oh, wow. This is interesting. When I started, I was strategic, which means as a newcomer, you don't know, because there are two schools. One will say why you will work for free. One will say, Sukhjit, there is some benefit. So my mind was split between these two. Shall I or I should not? Then I decided to jump in. And I jumped in because I jumped in with the hope that I will get some experience. Number two, the most important thing, as a newcomer in the country, you may not have local references. When I say local references, somebody who can speak on your behalf when you are not there. And in terms of your job search, this is the most important component for your job search, that you have to have some local references. In my case, I have a reference from Oman, the country I served. Not one, but all the references were from Oman. Who were my references in Canada? Just few friends, and I was advised friends are not references. They are not professional references, right? So the second reason for me to be a volunteer at that point was again to generate some references. And third, the hope that I will get a job, I will get some kind of a job. So, but with the time, when I say now strategic volunteering, you just need to make sure that you want to do it, not just because you will get a job, not just because you just will get some references. Because now, from a lens, I can see through my own journey and the journey of those whom I suggest that you need to volunteer. There is a big outcome of how people have started volunteering. It's not because of me they have started volunteering. Volunteering is there in Canada from ages, right? But when I come to the strategy, is look into the area you want to volunteer. And there is no volunteer opportunity in an aeronautical industry, right? But there is a possibility that a person who is with the aeronautical industry is also working at a food bank as a volunteer. So the connection, this is the most important thing. And remember, in my volunteer chat, we power also. There is a mention of something like that, network. It is enticed. That's why the chart helps you. You can pick any alphabet and you can start working on that. Either you want to learn, develop a network, or you are looking for opportunities, or it is your call. So initially, it was my call plus a hope that I will eventually get a good job with good references. But then, once I started my life in 6 months when I got my first job, there was one powerful kind of a thought that there is no way I will stop volunteering. And I know one of the question is asking where you volunteer. Where are those 18 organizations? On top of my mind, I can say right now, I'm a regional reviewer at Employment and Social Development Canada. I'm also a volunteer ambassador. I am also a volunteer. I actually have created a group for international students now, success and innovation. And those who are immigrants and those who are connecting with me via LinkedIn, I volunteer my time. But in past, I was a mentor at TRIAC. I also co-chaired Institute of Canadian Citizenship. And also for 2 years, I co-chaired Ontario Small Business Task Group run by a Ministry of Labor by the provincial government. And beyond that, with Peel District School Board, I actually was a parent representing city of Mississauga. Means my daughter goes to school, and I'm a parent who lives in Peel. And for 2 years, I did that. And I, of course, started with YMCA and a different nonprofit organization, Indus. It's also based in Mississauga. And then I was a family literacy program facilitator with the region of Peel, and that was a point when I pulled my wife and daughter also. So the list is like I say more than 15, and roughly I can tell you that 18 places I have actively volunteered, right? So we can take more questions, Trudy, if
Yes,
you
we
want.
have one more coming from Rego. She says, or that she has volunteered in India and England. I would like to volunteer in Canada,
Mhm.
but she has an infant and a toddler,
Yes.
and her husband works full time, and she can't afford to pay for daycare for two kids and volunteer
Wow.
at the same time. Childcare subsidy does not include volunteering. She asks, how can I get over this hurdle?
Okay. Anjali, thank you very much for asking this question. I will also throw my personal story. So when me, my wife, and our 18 months old daughter moved from Oman to Canada, we sat on the table and we decided who will take the first turn. My wife is a teacher. Now she works as a teacher. She works with Peel District School Board. But then she said, you know what? I know I can manage the household and our daughter well, so that you take first turn. She did not start job, she did not look for job, she just took care of me and my daughter, and that's how our life started in Canada. And I know when we don't have extended family support in Canada, and majority of immigrants, we don't have extended family support, we don't have such kind of neighborhood which we have from the countries we come from, right? So it is kind of challenging. I will say, Anjali, have some more patience, and when all this will clear, all this will clear. You can have many opportunities to volunteer in person. But can I suggest you right now, since you are at home, you are with two kids, look for the skill set you have. You can think about it in two ways. One is the skill sets, what you have, and where you can offer that. And I can help you bridging that gap. And feel free to reach out to me. I'll help. I will guide you further. But if many of those who are attending this webinar in the same scenario, what do? I say, have your skill sets ready and look for those organizations, and majority of them are in nonprofit, where your skill set, you don't need to match all of them. One is more than enough. In my case, what was my skill set when I came to Canada? I was expert in computer programming, right from Microsoft to Oracle. And I was also a Microsoft certified professional. So I started at a different organization building their database with Microsoft Access, even though it was piece of cake for me, but this is what was their requirement. But then I realized my strength, that that organization was in dire need of a very strong database. And I suggested few more updates. I suggested few more things, but I did created one small database for them. So it is, again, when I say I'm a career strategist, this is my job. This is what I help people with. Like, go with a strategy and you will find what you need for you are looking for, be it a job, be it a volunteer role. I hope I was able to respond to your question, Anjali.
Yes, and Manisha asks, what if I want to volunteer in different fields but do not have so much time?
See, if I also got 24 hours, anybody who is here, we all got 24 hours. And on the lighter side of my life, my personal life, I have actually reduced substantially going out to volunteer. Now I'm at a stage of my life where I do it mostly virtually, but I did not leave one component to meet newcomers. My day job is also helping newcomers, and I'm again going to say that I'm very proud working with the Center for Education and Training, because that gives me my bread and butter. But my other part is also, whoever reaches out to me beyond that, I help with them, right? So coming back to the same question is, you don't have time. if if still you want to volunteer, you can start small. You can start small in your neighborhood. You can start small if you have some kind of expertise. It, again, what are your skill sets? Forget about timing. What are your skill sets and what is your availability? And again, I am going to mention Volunteer MBC, because when you go to their website and pick the skill set, it will ask you your availability. Even on weekends, there are places where you can actually go and volunteer, right? And sometimes it is so easy, and in this time it is also very important that you can actually volunteer calling self-care line, like where you are just calling people to assuring them that, just asking them how is the life, and just assuring them that there is somebody who is listening to them also. So I hope you will get some good resources by the end when we finish our this virtual live chat also. But if you have any
Okay.
question, please reach out.
All right. We'll take a pause right now, but I continue to remind whoever is on this webinar that you can send your questions. If you're watching on Zoom, you can send them in the Q&A section, and if you're on YouTube, in the chat box. And so let us continue. Sukhjit.
Yep.
Where are the resources? I know you've talked about virtual volunteering, and you really tell us that there's availability for people to really continue to do volunteering, even online, even when they don't have to be there in person. Can you share with us some of those resources?
Sure. If you can move to the next slide, I am going to share few of them, but your first point should be where you are. Where is your physical location? If you are in Canada, and I can tell you, wherever you are in Canada, in the 20 miles of your radius, there will be a small, medium, or large nonprofit organization. They will be looking for people who can help you with their volunteer roles. And this is how you will start. And since I live in Peel region, so and then we have our local volunteer center, Volunteer MBC, and this center is offering many opportunities of virtual volunteering. You can go to the website. It will take you uh, to that extent that you will be prepared to jump in by just visiting the website, registering yourself, going through the screening, and choosing the kind of roles you want to do, because there are many roles which you can actually choose from a very long list. And then I have another website which is Do Some Good also, which is also Canada wide. And the whole idea of sharing all these resources, they're all intertwined. And if I have to mention, if you're in Toronto, then Volunteer Toronto would be the best website. But again, I could not pay attention to how many are joining from outside Ontario. But if you go to Volunteer Canada, volunteer.ca, like this is Volunteer Canada website, and they have a very effective website. You can actually go to province and then you can go to city. Say, for example, I'm in Mississauga, but if I go to volunteercanada.ca, and then you look for your province and you look for your city, and if I look for Mississauga, it will show me Volunteer MBC. And then when I click on that, it will take me to the link which will share that what Volunteer MBC is doing right now, what options, what positions are available to virtually volunteer.
Okay. And we continue to remind you that for those links, we know we cannot copy them right now, but you will get follow-up emails with those links, or on YouTube, or if you're watching on Zoom, you'll continue to see them.
Mm-hmm.
And so you mentioned, Sukhjit,
Mm-hmm.
that virtual volunteering, very important, right?
Mm-hmm.
But do you get the same experience as you would have gotten if you were doing volunteering in person? And does that really count as volunteer experience?
Yes. I can't speak on behalf of any organization, but I can tell you that yes, it is. Say, for example, I am right now volunteering for New Canadian Cafe. Is it considered as volunteer experience for me? Yes. I will proudly mention that on my resume. And when you are going through even virtual volunteering, you will be associated with a food bank, with a nonprofit organization, or maybe with a corporate who may have a volunteer division. But yes, to me, and Trudy, I want you to reframe this question again so that I don't want to miss any answer which you have asked.
Oh yes,
it's a very, yeah.
Yeah, to ask that again, does this virtual volunteering count as much as physical volunteering?
I will say I miss my in-person volunteering. I miss my coffees with newcomers at Tim Horton in Mississauga. There is no question about that. But the at this moment, need of time is that we stay away from each other. It is not that virtual volunteering is happening right now in this situation. We do it all the time. Like if you talk about any mentorship program, most of the time it is virtual volunteering. But in this time, personally, I miss my interaction with people when I meet them, when I see them face to face, when I talk to them, when I could feel more of a human touch, right? But the need of this hour is we maintain that distance, and we jump into the ocean of volunteering. And this is the right time for you to be a volunteer, because you might have a job which will not allow you to stay at home, which will not allow you to, because see, for example, if I finish my work at 4:30, which means I am available to start my volunteer work at 4:31. I don't need to wait to drive home, come home, change, and I'm ready, right? So to me, there is a difference, 100%, but impact is even more now, because we need more volunteers. We need more people who are helping our neighborhoods, our individuals, our seniors, our most vulnerable population, right? Be it a crisis center, be it as a food bank, or be it a senior home. Yes,
Okay.
I will say yes, you are missing the human touch, but the essence is not going to change. Essence is same, but even having more impact now.
Okay, and we're gonna take our second poll right about now, and we shall continue to answer the remaining questions.
Sure, sure.
So in this poll, we want to find out who is volunteering now. So are you engaged in any volunteering activity at the moment, in person or virtual? Please tell us. So we'll give people some 15 seconds to
Sure.
vote on
I'm
that
excited
poll.
to see the result. I'm very excited to see the result.
Yeah, and then we'll have the result coming through
Sure.
very soon. Okay, so
Wow.
we have the result already. 27% say yes, they are volunteering right now.
Mhm. And then
14% say no, and 59% are still thinking about it.
and then
Yes,
I'll say this is the right opportunity for everybody who's thinking about it, because
exactly.
I tell you, if I come to the last alphabet, rewarding, it is rewarding. It is impactful. Your own life will change. Your own well-being will be to that extent that you know, I call it inner happiness, inner peace. You will be in a very blissful state. And human human being is actually a giver. We stop giving because we go in the rut of day-to-day life, but we are all giver. Don't take me wrong, even if you don't volunteer, but you're still giver. But now I say, now this is the time for you to go out, not physically, go out virtually, go out virtually, choose the cause you want to support, choose the organization you want to support, and do it. And also, if you want to develop a new skill, for me, again, coming from a different background, my ethnicity, I'm a proud Indian. I have a turban, I have a beard, I'm a Sikh, right? But but when I always remember when this one word everybody will tell, oh, things are done differently in Canada. People are different. To me, I quickly realized, initially I was also thinking what different how different it would be. But when I jumped into volunteering, I was meeting more people, and I didn't see any different. We are all human beings. We are all coming from the same melting pot. We are all in this journey. This is a journey for us, and especially for newcomers. It is a journey, and it will go forever. Maybe for the next generation it won't go, because they are not immigrants. They're second generation, first generation immigrants, right? But for me, it is so much rewarding that I feel blissful. I am in position to help others, and I tell you, once you become a volunteer, you will be proud of yourself. And those
Yeah.
59% who are thinking about it, I will say this is the right time for you to start volunteering.
Thank you, Sukhjit. And
Thank you,
we
Priya.
continue with the questions.
Yes, please.
Manpreet is asking, what role did you play volunteering at YMCA?
YMCA was my first role in Canada, and coming from a background where I had a I had IT background. You know, I always mix up with IT and computers, because to some it is different. To me, it is same. I grew up when I was graduating, when Microsoft was taking a shape, right? That was the time when I was finishing my diploma. At YMCA, my role was to teach basics of computer. Believe it or not, it was a very small thing for me at that moment. But when I started teaching, I realized that how important it is for those who have zero level of digital literacy. So my first role at YMCA was to teach Microsoft Word to those who have no idea what is Microsoft Word. But then I moved on. I became part of the Employment Resource Center at the same location in Mississauga. And then there was no stop. I tell you one thing, discovery of my other potentials, it happened because of my volunteer involvement. And honestly, I did not expect, but I did work as a consultant for Canada's two biggest brands because of my volunteer work. Because somebody realized that I have that strength. I was not able to see that. And somebody said that, Sukhjit, you have this strength. And I was working as a consultant with those different wonderful organizations. Yeah.
Okay. And Dipali is asking, do we have to do any bridging program? I am in Canada for almost 2 years.
Oh, so your question is actually more of bridging program, not volunteer, but I will definitely answer. What does it mean, bridge? Bridge is helping you to reach from one location to another location. And when you are asking, say the name, it is Rupali, you said, Trudy?
Yeah, Dipali.
Dipali. So Dipali bridging program is going to help you to understand from where you come and how to reach to the next stage professionally. And in terms of bridging, it is mostly about job readiness, mostly about how that 7 page. I always joke about my 7 page resume. And when somebody trimmed it to 2, I was very upset, right? So that bridging program actually helps you to understand the job scenario, and it prepares you to be in the job market. That is important. I did finish a bridging program, and in that time, that program is no more funded now, but it was 3 weeks of program which I finished, and it helped me a lot. It helped me
Okay.
to actually do my discovery, rediscovering myself, that what are my strengths and what I'm good at.
And Sneha says, hello, everyone. I landed 20 days ago,
Wow.
and I have a master's in mechanical engineering and working in teaching field.
Mhm.
Would like to know more about volunteering opportunities in my field. Sukhjit.
Sneha, you are an engineer, you are a teacher. It is exactly the profile I had. I was a computer engineer, then I turned into teaching. I was teaching computer engineering related subjects, and then I came to Canada and completely rediscovering my path, and then jumped into nonprofit. Yes. Now you have two fields. You have teaching and you have mechanical engineering. And I know, given that we have less time on this platform to share more, and you can connect with me via LinkedIn, I will be more than happy to answer more questions, right? So, if it is mechanical engineering, you want to go in that field, your strategy should be different. If it is teaching, your strategy should be different. But let me tell you one thing: majority of the community colleges, if I look at those who teach mechanical engineering subjects, they are actually from the industry and they are teaching in those community colleges. Now, this you need to figure it out how, but this is the reality. You
Okay.
can be an industry expert and then be a lecturer or professor, but again, the requirements to get into the community colleges, private colleges is completely different. So we are talking two different things. You need to decide which way you want to go. You can club it together. The more you learn how to do it, and that's where the bridging. There was a question about bridging. That's where the bridging program will come. That's where those programs which are offered by many organizations, all those employment related program will help you. Yeah. Yes,
Yes,
Trudy.
and Sundip wants to know, what is one skill stroke value required for volunteering?
Say it again.
What is one skill stroke value required for volunteering?
You need to be ready to volunteer. That's it. There is no skill set. And then skill set, some of them you already have it. You can share that skill set and leverage on that skill set to give back. And there are some skill sets which you will be learning through volunteering. So it is not one way street, it is two-way street. You will learn. Okay, to give you an example, when I moved to Canada, I tend to speak very fast. Like my English is my third language, by the way, right? My mother tongue is Punjabi, my national language is Hindi, and English is my third language. So initially, every time I spoke, and people either turned their head and say, "Excuse me," and I did not realize why I was not understood. But then I realized through that bridging program that I was speaking very fast. Now I started. It's my natural way, but I know there was some kind of training initially which made me more clear. So to answer your question, there is no one skill set. You just need to be ready. Then there are further resources which will help you to identify your skills and match those skills with the positions. So it
Mhm.
all depends on you, but you need to be ready, and then you can go ahead.
Hi, can you please share any specific IT volunteering platforms for project managers? Radhika asks.
So there is IT and there is a project management. Um, Again, two things. Project management is a bigger area, but you are coming from IT. I gave my example, and I was in teaching how I leveraged on that and transferred to something at YMCA. Same thing for you. What in project management you have done? Maybe you can support a small nonprofit organization in restructuring their IT infrastructure. Maybe you can bring some more value to them, suggesting some new things. Again, if you have maybe if you have joined me later, but this is what I mentioned. My IT background and having a good knowledge of database helped me to help this organization. But uh, I know there are many organizations which will benefit hugely from you. You can sit on a board of any nonprofit organization in their IT committee where you can guide them that how they can improve their websites, how they can improve their traffic. And if you are a social media expert, you can also share your expertise with them. It is important that you know your skill set, and that's why I say it's very important for any newcomer to have at least 3 mentors. And I'm very fortunate that now I not only have mentors and advisors, I have my critics who tells me, who guide me every single day. So in your case, if it is IT and project management, you need to figure out first, where do you live, how much time you have, and what are your expertise. And I tell you, there are opportunities in that area as well.
Okay. And Vijay asks, being please advise being into financial sector,
Hmm.
what is the best way to start volunteering and with whom?
Vijay, again, coming back to the same thing, financial sector is big. You can sit on a financial committee for any organization who's offering, who is not offering, who is posting their board positions on their websites, right? Again, you need to, uh, you know your sector, but you don't know where the opportunities are. That's why you need to figure out where you live, what is a local volunteer center, and what options they have. And most of the time, you will be finding it very interesting that there are some organization, their whole board runs pro bono from people from banking sector, from financial sector, from IT sector, from health sector, and they all sit on the board. These are all the opportunities which you will find. And then again, there is a level of volunteering. I started as frontline volunteer, but then I realized my strength. Then I started thinking on think tanks. So my experience, my 2 years of experience sitting as a co-chair on the on small business task group, which was run by the Ministry of Labor, Ontario Ministry of Labor, was again sharing my expertise at a very different level. And when I started as a board member, I was a board member at Volunteer MBC, and I still help them with their outreach. So you will also find out more about yourself, that what other strengths you are. And you, I tell you one thing, if I run an organization and I need somebody, I'm poor in finance, and I'll hire you as a volunteer so that you can help my organization. So yes, there are opportunities in every single sector.
Okay. Sandeep asks, she says, I came to Canada 4 years back as a landed immigrant.
Mhm.
Currently, I'm working as a director with one of the financial institutes and a lecturer with one of the colleges in Ontario. I
Mhm.
am certified Master Black Belt Lean Six Sigma and certified project management expert. I
Mhm.
would like to volunteer to train and share my expertise with new immigrants to Canada.
Mhm.
How can I start volunteering?
Very interesting, Sandeep. I see you said 4 years you're teaching, and you have all the Six Sigma and all that stuff. That's very impressive. Now, you know you have this skill set. And coming back to our discussion before, you need to find out who's looking for you. Sometime in our journey, we only think that I have this and I don't know where to go. But on the other side, and I can speak on the others from other side's behalf, there are organizations. The only thing is you need to educate and empower more. And now it seems you have decided to volunteer. then I will say pick your city, pick your local volunteer center, go on their website, go in person, or email them. Again, I take pride in mentioning if you are in Peel region, Volunteer MBC is one organization which can help you connecting uh, connecting you with the opportunity, and that is the best way to do it. Again, I know it's a very open answer to your question, but feel free to reach out to me individually, and I will be able to help you more. But again, for anybody who is having a skill set and looking for volunteer opportunities, they're all there. They're all out there. You need to put this message out, either through your network, through your mentors, through your coaches, or through even your family members that you are ready to volunteer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sukhjit, I would like you to answer briefly to the next questions as we don't have so much time
Sure,
left.
sure. I
And
will be
then
quick.
attendees can really continue to follow up with you
Sure,
through your
sure,
LinkedIn or your social
sure,
media channels.
sure.
And so, yes, Vijay is asking, what is the right way to do volunteering? And I
Ri-
guess we have talked
we,
about
we have
that.
spoken, but briefly I'll tell you. Right way is to pick what you want to do in terms of as a volunteer. Go to your local volunteer center, visit their website, and follow the process and protocol. There is a process for any organization for them to enroll you as their volunteer also, and
Okay.
it's exactly like a job search also.
And Etishri
Mhm.
is asking Sukhjit, please share the process of selection of volunteers and the professional expectations of organizations for volunteers.
Every single organization works in a different way. It's the duty of volunteer to ask questions when you are applying for volunteer and then they are interviewing you. Most of the time, they will interview you for your volunteer position. And it is treat this as exactly like you are going for a job interview. And you have all the rights to ask questions. And expectation is mostly mentioned in the job posting, but having that interaction with the organization or those who are hiring you, that what is the expectation in the beginning is very important. And that is where you can actually meaningfully contribute. And it is the role of organization also to engage the volunteers in a meaningful way. And you know what, there is always someone else who will need your services. So this is very important that you treat it as a serious business, not don't take it light.
Yes. Manisha is asking, how can I volunteer virtually right now? And I think we shared a few links and we
Yes,
said in Zoom, we'll continue to share them and then with follow-up emails.
that's true.
So we'll go to the next question. What is the best way to use our volunteering in our resume building and job search? As Vijay.
Wow, what is the best way to see?
Use our volunteering in our resume building and job search.
Oh, that's very interesting question. Again, I'm throwing my personal example. So I had international work experience when I moved to Canada, and there was no local experience. And when I started working at YMCA and at Indus, I put that as professional slash work experience, and then in bracket I put volunteering. That's why you need to be expert on resume building as well. So yes, you do mention that you are working as a volunteer. Just to give you an example, majority of the engineers who come to Canada and they go through a process to for their licensing, and especially for Ontario, they go through the licensing process, right? I always advise them to associate yourself with those organizations who would love to have you. Say, for example, I have a wonderful colleague at Volunteer Embassy. His name is Jim, and he's a volunteer with the Habitat for Humanity. And I always recommend majority of those who are into construction, civil engineering is to volunteer for Habitat for Humanity. And now there are many tech-based organizations and they are all non-profit, who actually are taking advantage of those newcomers and immigrants who are coming with IT background. And that is again win-win situation. If you are new, if you're already involved, it looks good on your resume, not from the perspective of just having a local name, but also that though you are a job seeker, you have already started following the Canadian way, which is being a volunteer.
Thank you, Sukhjit. And we have a question coming through from David on YouTube. He asks, does volunteering help with future job prospects? If
100%.
yes,
Yes.
how?
Quick. Okay. I'll tell you, you never know whom you meet. This is life, right? And I have a very fresh example, which I shared on my social media, that now my huge influx of my queries, my talk is with international students, and they have their own challenges, right? They don't have even the PR status. They are moving, they are working towards their PR status. So I asked, I always encourage them to volunteer. It by doing it, you will develop more skills. And in this particular case, this kid was very shy, not talking, but he started volunteering. And then at one point, he became very confident, and his conversation was very engaging. And recently, he was just engaging with somebody, and that somebody was director of the same organization he wanted to work. And can you believe? And I can't name the organization, I can name the person, but this person was taken to the HR right away and said, interview this guy. So even he did not volunteer, but his shyness, his hesitation of speaking was overcome by being a volunteer. And then there is no direct outcome, but in some cases there is a direct outcome. I tell you one example. I never knew that I am a public speaker. I just was a newcomer, and I was helping organization at the front desk for registrations. And then I realized that they are running low on the staff, and I jumped in. I rolled my sleeve, I jumped in, I said, this is where I can help and all that stuff. Outcome of that was I was invited to MC one of the biggest conference in the PL region when I was just 2 years old. That was a point when I met many key stakeholders in the community who were ready with their business card and said, hey, Sukhjit, if you ever need help, and that help cannot be a job, that I can tell you. But just by being there, just by being in touch with many, whenever you need some help, and that help can be job also. I will say directly or indirectly, it will help you in your job search. Directly or indirectly, it will definitely help you building your confidence when you are low in your confidence, or when you lose a job. But if you are in touch with the organization where you are volunteer, there is always a way how you can leverage on your network, how you can leverage on your connections, and how you
Yes.
can also leverage on the social kind of connections as well.
And Manpreet asks, what if you do not get an opportunity to volunteer even after applying so many times? I've
Very
applied
interesting.
for
Very
English
interesting.
circles at CCS, but disappointed so far. What should I do?
I won't mention any name. I tell you one thing. You need to take this as your job search. You don't want to stop your search by just reaching out to one. You will reach out to many. Honestly, Manpreet, I also at this moment I have reached out to at least 5 or 6 different organizations. I have not heard back from them that how I can contribute. Will I give up? No. Will I stop? No. I'll. There is always no, but that no always tells you one thing: there is always a yes. So you need to broaden. You need to increase your search, right? If it is no from one organization, that's fine. Move on. Go next. Go next. And there are billions of people, and there are millions and millions of opportunities. It's up to you how you. And there is again a strategy. If you have reached out once, how again you have reached out to them? Did you follow up? Did you use another channel? Did you reach out to someone else who is also working there? So there are many things involved. If you did not get an answer, say for example, you send me a message, you didn't get a response from me, do you know whether I'm even using the medium which you have sent a message? Do you know if I need you? Do you know if I am not interested at all? There can be many reasons, Manpreet, but I will say do not give up. There are
Okay.
opportunities.
Manik wants to know which was one of your most learning and challenging volunteering out of your
Oh,
18.
first one. First one, I still remember, and I have a picture. Uh, and that was my first volunteer opportunity at YMCA. I thought how I will. Interview was successful. I was a selected candidate, but I was I was bit um, uncertain how it will unfold, and it only took me few minutes, and that was the most challenging. And then it's never ending, never stopping. You put me anywhere and I know that one of my skill set will help someone, and not in case of me but in case of every one of you. There is something special in you. Sometimes it takes more time to match that something special with the opportunity, but that is where your persistence will pay off.
Okay. And Yamini wants to know if there is any specific avenues to volunteer teaching math and basic IT to children or adults.
Wow.
She's also interested in helping newcomers with English language limitations. Can you please help identify these specific avenues? Thank
This
you.
is very interesting question. Thank you very much, Yamini, for asking. And I will ask your help, Trudy, in that. Let me tell you, if opportunities are not out there, you create that opportunity. This is my message to you, to you through this medium. If you are getting more no's, you create your own opportunity. Now, going back, you want to teach math and English. You want to you want to help kids in their homework. Big brother and big sister. There is no big name than that. That is the best opportunity. You want to teach IT. In Mississauga, we have RCTO. They don't teach IT, but they do refurbish computer, and then you and then I know in Toronto there is Geek Guys. There are many organizations. Some work in silo. Some even don't have their website. Again, expand your network. Ask as many as people you can. There are opportunities. And yes, Yamini, you can actually contribute, sharing your expertise also, teaching those kids. And even you can go to your local library. Sometimes they do have those postings that if you want to help school going kids in their homework, join their club.
And Shadil, thanks you so much, Sukhjit, for enlightening us regarding volunteerism. Just like you have a computer engineering degree, but for the last 10 years, I'm a broadcast journalist and
Okay.
worked as a news anchor and reporter.
Wow.
Being an opinion maker back in Pakistan, how
Mhm.
can I become one here in Ontario during the COVID-19 situation as I landed
Mhm.
20 days ago?
Oh, I hear you, Sherdil. This is a very tough time, and I my heart goes out to especially to everyone, but in particular those who just came to Canada, still looking for a job. In my case scenario, it took me 6 months to get my first job, and I hear you, Sherdil. I know this is tough time for all of us, and this is also tough time for you and your family. But don't give up hope. And I know, and if I'm talking to the right person, I know, Sherdil, there are bridging programs which can help you. The programs, again, it's more of now your resilience. It is more of now that how we can all come together as a community and help each other. And I can only assure you something: the very fact that you are connected, the very fact that you are joining this webinar tells me one thing, that you have open mind. You have that kind of zest and zeal to do something in this country, and you will do that.
And we have one coming through from Brent Edwards. For a
Mhm,
newcomer who is considering relocating to another city in Canada, what
mhm.
type of volunteering opportunities would you suggest that would give them a good feeling for what that community would be like to move in, to
It
move to?
all Thank you, Brent, for asking this question. It all depends what good feeling means to you, or to the person who is moving to new province. Sometimes just joining a local circles at public library, where they do run some public tours for those who are new to Canada, or new to the province, or new to the city, also can help you. It all depends on what makes you feel good. And if I am new, and I tell you, it was not province, it was actually a country. I felt that I have nobody, I'm alone, I have a small network of people, but I want to build more. So what I did, I started going out, talking to people on bus, talking to people when I was taking transit, or when I was attending any social gathering, which is like why I'm saying social gathering, too much of influence of those words now. But any workshop, any seminar, I was connecting with as many as people, because you know what, as a human, you want to be heard, you want to be seen, you want to be known. Those are all our basic, based on Maslow's hierarchical need, our basic needs. But yes, when you are new to the city, you are new to the town, you can join whatever makes you feel good. If you are good in gardening, there are gardening circles. If you are good in even bicycles, you name it. I tell you one thing, now after 10 years I have developed that kind of expertise, that if you are enthusiastic bicycle, like you love to cycle around, there are clubs which you can join for free. And in summer is coming, and I hope this will be over soon, you will see all these clubs, right? So I hope I answered your question, Brand.
Okay, Mohit says, sometimes I start volunteering but find it difficult to determine the amount of time I have to give, because when you're a volunteer and you're giving it your all, you just lose the track of time. I
Yes.
always feel like I need to put more time in this. How can I manage that time and keep track so
Be
that it
my
won't disturb my regular work?
Wonderful, Mohit. This is a wonderful question. Be mindful of your time. You guard your time. That's why when you start, you make sure that how much you want to give. I know as a human being, we have this soft heart. We want to do more. But then you will be exhausted. So that's why setting a boundary is very important. Making sure that how much time, how many days you want to volunteer. I told you through my own journey, what I have learned is my initial days were I was spending a lot of time attending committee meetings, lot of board meetings, and all that stuff. But with time, I also realized there is a better way of doing it. So, first of all, welcome to the club of volunteering. Second, you are going in the right direction, but now you have to zoom out and see what is your availability and what is your interest and what is the skill set you want to give out, or you want to develop a new skill set. And again, have a very good strategy around it. Everything happens for a reason, and sometimes because it is you are giving your time, your efforts, just because of your pure sheer good heart. But in that, don't drain yourself. You have to be mindful. When you are giving, you are also giving your energy, you are also giving, so you also have to have time to take. It's like a bank account. If you are taking it out, you have to put back in also. So be mindful and just make sure that you know your boundaries, you know
And
your timings. Yeah.
And lastly, Simranjit asks how to shortlist an organization for volunteering. I searched and found quite a few of them. In addition, balancing volunteering with job. Kindly guide on that aspect too.
Oh, this is interesting, Simranji. Thank you for asking this question. I believe we have spoken about it. Again, you can shortlist the agencies, you can reach out to them, and you can actually go in person and ask them what is their need. And I tell you one thing, I go with the with the this calculation of three. You visit three, you find out which is close to what you want to offer, and based on your availability and their ask, if it matches, you go for it. Start small, start something small and go with it. You like it, you continue. You want to move on. And remember, again, lighter side of life, nobody can fire you from your volunteer job. It's volunteering. And people are kind. They understand, the organization, they do understand that it is sheer pure good work which people just want to give back to the society through their volunteer work.
Thank you so much, Sukhjit, for that. Thank you so much for your time and for throwing more light on volunteering while keeping your social distance.
Thank you very
Now,
much, Trudy. Thank you
you're
very much,
welcome.
all the participants, and thank you very much for especially New Canadian and Gerard. for organizing this. Thank you so very much.
You're
Everyone,
welcome. And Cafe New Canadians will continue even beyond this COVID time. And remember, it is your virtual live series that brings you information on employment and all other relevant matters to newcomers. And we ask you to continue following New Canadians TV on our social media channels, New Canadians on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You will find us if you look for us, and we also have our newsletter coming in monthly, and you can also find information and resources on immigration, settlements, employment, education, and all. And we also have our shows running on Omni Television, on YouTube, and on our website, newcanadians.tv and youtube.com/newcanadians. So do follow us up there, and we'll continue to bring you this series. And the next one will be with Gabriela, and we'll talk about how your own thoughts affect your job search results. So do not miss it. It will be on Tuesday, the 31st of March, 2020. So do be sure to join us. And my name is Gertrude, and it's been a pleasure to have you all on Cafe New Canadians. And please, at the end of this webinar, we are going to, if you're watching us through Zoom, you are going to receive a survey. Please let us know what topics you would like to hear and what kind of content you want us to bring to you, and how we can improve this virtual chat. And thank you so much, and have a good one.
Thank you.